Jessica Lewis is with the Time to Wine broadcast, and I'm here with Tara Abernethy. Tara, where are you located today?
Today I'm in Vancouver, BC, where I live in Canada.
Okay, what's our time difference?
Same as you, so 9 a.m.
Oh, okay, 9 a.m. Hey, what a coincidence. Okay, so today we're going live. So this is the first live interview we're doing, and I was just approved for LinkedIn Live. We're going to be posting on Facebook Live, and we'll be posting on YouTube. So Time to Wine is a live broadcast on the second and fourth Monday of the month at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I interview experts in wine, social media, leadership, and marketing. The live stream broadcast is featured on the first and third Friday of the month at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live, and YouTube. So hit subscribe to see more interviews. This is actually going to be starting probably once a week on Friday because I've got all kinds of speakers lined up. So Tara Abernethy is a French culture expert with an outstanding knowledge of French wines, producers, and regions. And you're able to ask any questions during this conversation. So ask us any questions. So first of all, Tara, tell us about your background.
Well, I am currently an educator. I teach French and French immersion in a high school in Vancouver, in North Vancouver, called Handsworth. And I've been teaching for about 14 years. I also have been recently teaching Spanish. And I also started a business called Vin Elegance. It means wine elegance in French. I started it in 2017. My purpose was to bring forth authentic experiences with elegant and small production wines to different clients, whether it be through consulting or tutored tastings, providing a bit of background from where the wine is from, sense of place, the terroir, or now I'm going to be starting up doing custom travel with authentic cultural experiences embedded in the travel packages. So smaller groups of about 6 to 10 people, hopefully aiming for spring break or summer of 2022. Then I also am an ambassador. I took on a new role in March of 2021 as ambassador for Vinay Love. It's a app for wine lovers. So it involves dating. So there's a dating aspect to the app. There's also networking within the wine industry internationally. It connects you with people all over the world in the wine industry, and also allows you to promote your different business practices in the wine industry through the app. So I found that to be a very interesting undertaking, and I've been enjoying it very much. So I've got those 3 roles at the moment.
And how many students do you teach during the year?
Usually about 150 to 180.
150 to 180 students per year. Woo! Been there, done that. Okay. All right. So tell us what about your current work. I know you do. You're teaching. You can speak many languages, and you're teaching high school students. And so let's talk a little bit about that and what you think.
Okay, well, I definitely know that teaching is one of my passions, and I love it, and I want to keep doing it. It's just great to see the students developing their critical thinking skills. That's one of my main focuses when I'm teaching. Even though it's language, we focus a lot on like climate change and different issues that come up, and like the reconciliation with the First Nations in Canada, things like that. Really important issues that they can learn vocabulary around, learn how to express themselves. So I love it. And I love the school I teach at. It's a really good community, and the students really want to learn. So I love being there. It makes me feel like I'm doing something positive for the community, for the world. And it gives me energy to be there. So I love it. And I've organized trips for the students as well. We've been to Nice, we've been to Barcelona, to various parts of northern France, Paris, Brittany. We went to Mont Saint-Michel. So we got to see Notre Dame 2 weeks before it caught fire. So that was interesting. But yeah, the students have loved the trips, and many of them have said that that was their highlight of their high school experience. So feel blessed to have done those trips with
Yes,
them.
that always, when we do these things for other people, and it's very altruistic, and it's really good for, like you said, the community and everybody involved to give yourself like that. So, tell us about. So, you're wanting to do culture tours for adults, and so
Yes.
tell us a little bit about your wine tours, and then I'd like to hear about your wine training. You've had really extensive training in wine in France, so let's talk about that too.
Okay, so I would love to bring adults to different wine regions in France and Italy. I've got some partnerships set up in Champagne, in Burgundy, in the Rhone, and in Provence at the moment in France. And then also I have collaborations with different wineries and different local businesses in Sicily, Piemonte, and Tuscany right now in Italy. Eventually, I would like to complete some more training for Spanish wine and add Spain and then Portugal to the options for old world wine travel. My experience and training in wine, I guess I started in Burgundy in 2016. So Burgundy is called Bourgogne in French, and the wine trade is trying to promote using the word Bourgogne instead of Burgundy, as it's the only wine region that had an English translation of the region, and they're trying to go back to the French word for the region. So it's Bourgogne from this point forward. So I did my training there in a city called Beaune, and it's spelled Beaune. It's one of the places that has the most expensive and most sought after wines in the world. It was an amazing experience. I did 7.5 months there. So I took a personal leave from teaching, and I brought my daughter over to Beaune with me, and she went to school there. And it was a really amazing experience. I met a lot of producers. It was very intensive training for 3.5 months, all day from like 8 or 9 a.m. until 6 p.m., where we would go around and visit different producers. We learned about the vinification and viticultural practices, and we did trips. We did a trip to South Africa for 2 weeks, to Champagne, and to Bordeaux. So I got to learn about a lot of different wine styles and different practices and meet different producers. It was a really positive experience. And then I did an internship.
Wonderful, gosh.
And it was amazing. And then I did an internship right after that for 1.5 months in Pommard, which is in Burgundy, Bourgogne. It's one of the most sought after appellations for Pinot Noir. And it was amazing. And I learned a lot during that experience as well. So that was all in all 7.5 months in Burgundy, and traveling around to different wine regions. And then when I came back, I continued my education, came back to Vancouver with the Wine Scholar Guild. It's an amazing wine school that's based out of Washington, D.C., but they have different schools. We have different businesses and different schools take on their course material and have teachers teaching it. I did my classes in the classroom, which I'm very lucky to have done that, because it's great for networking and great for tasting the wines and having really an amazing experience. But they set up the program in such an easy to follow way, and it's very thorough and very well done. So I have the French Wine Scholar certificate. I graduated with highest honors for that. And then also I have the Italian Wine Scholar. So they're very intensive courses. It's a really amazing experience. They focus a lot on the cultural aspect, the geographical, the terroir, the winemaking and wine law. Everything is all combined in there. So.
And our closest wine classes are in. I had to go to Portland to study wines.
Oh, okay.
And so that's where I have to go 2 hours away.
They're offering it online too now. So there's quite a few options that way. But I do love doing it in the classroom.
I do too. And especially when you're comparing tasting notes and you're talking, I think all of that would be rather difficult on Zoom. I think it just would lose some of its charm. Mm-hmm. So tell us about your business, Vin Elegance, and tell me what you do.
So I I aim to provide authentic experiences, and I like to do tutor tastings for people. So give a little bit of a presentation of the region, so you can see the geography of it, see some images of the vineyards and the landscape, and then talking about the foods that are also local delicacies and great pairings with those wines, and usually provide some of those pairings, whether it be cheeses or specific meats that they make, like charcuterie, the sausages, things like that, to serve with the wines, and give a variety of different wines from that area to show the different styles and the way that a producer or a specific parcel could influence the taste of the wine significantly and show the differences between them and the similarities. So I like to do that because I'm passionate about culture and I'm passionate about a sense of place with food products and wine. And then I also want to bring that type of experience to custom travel. When I'm traveling in those types of situations, I feel like time stops. Like I'm very present in the moment and just enjoying everything around me, which is one of the reasons why I started incorporating wine into my career path. And I want to provide that same feeling for my clients, where they're just immersed in the moment and enjoying the culture, the wine, the scenery, everything. So that's my plan. And then I also do consulting, whether it be selecting wines for events, or if you would like to invest in wine, I can help you do that, or building your wine wall or your wine cellar, those kinds of things.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. Now, do you have a dip set? So tell me, so your wine education, so I know you've got the Italian wine scholar and the French wine scholar, and then do you have We Set 3 also?
What the training that I did is through the CFPPA in Beaune in Bourgogne, and when I signed up, you could only sign up if you have a master's degree, and they said at that time it was equivalent to We Set 3 or 4, and I wouldn't have been able to do the Wine Scholar Guild courses without minimum We Set 3, so they also saw it as equivalent.
Okay. And We Set 3 is tough from my understanding. So, okay. So let's move on here to, so let's talk about your dating app and your international app. I'm going to make sure I'm saying it right. Vinea Love?
Vinea Love.
Vinea Love. Okay. Vinea Love. So let's talk about that.
Okay, great.
So tell us about your app. Okay.
Well, it's amazing. It's the company was started by Françoise Poli. She's French, and she's been in the wine industry for 20, 30 years, 20 some years at least. She had a recruiting business in the wine industry first, and she's just really passionate about connecting wine lovers, and she just loves to bring the vibe of love to the world and connect people that love wine. So I had an interview with her, and I just felt really great about her and about what she wanted to do. And I love the idea of connecting wine lovers everywhere. And a lot of people in the wine industry travel, so it's great to be able to connect with people that are like-minded. And if you already have a little network going on when you arrive somewhere, it's great, and they can suggest different Vinea lovers can suggest great wine bars for different cities that you're in. You can go meet up and have a great time, and also network within the industry. And also the app will allow for people in the industry to promote their business through there. So it's really a great way to get to know different people. I'm the Canadian ambassador for the app, so I am in charge of all of Canada, but there are many other ambassadors as well from different countries. So I love it because I love to connect with people from all over the world, and we have a great team, and we're all having a great time and having fun doing this together. So I think it's going to be really awesome coming up here. And we just launched when I talked to you last time. So it's now available on the App Store and Google Play. And the best way to sign up is just to go to the site, sign up on the site, and you get the first 3 months free. and then you can download the app on either the App Store or the Google Play, depending what kind of phone you have. Google Play for Android, App Store for iPhone, and it's just going to be really fun coming up because we're going to do a big launch coming up in September, and we'll start doing Vinea Love Nights, which are wine tasting events or mingling events to get to know people in different cities across Canada, and it'll be happening in Europe too. There's an ambassador in France, in Italy, and there's one that's in charge of Switzerland, Germany, and Austria, and then there's UK and Greece and Cyprus, and then there's some in South America as well, Peru, Argentina, Brazil, and Chile. And then we've got also Russia and Holland is one of our new ones. So it's just expanding every day. So it's really fun. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how it progresses.
Oh, me too. And then the time to wine. So what's happening also with, which is interesting with the app, is I have a lot of people asking me to start time to wine groups in different cities. And my what I'm focusing on there is that we create the same sort of thing, wine lover groups, or people that love wine and social media and are all over the world. And then we can conference and talk to them about different wines or books or food and culture. And what's interesting to me, what you were talking about earlier, is to be able to send a package of, let's say, wine from South Africa with South African music, and some sort of food products from South Africa, and have sort of a South African experience, or have a South African conference in to talk. So thus far, I'm sitting here every day working. I'm working about 50 hours a week on doing this, and so we'll keep talking about how we can keep working together. Okay,
I love it.
So Miss Wine Woman, do you have favorite wines or producers from different regions or appellations?
I definitely do.
And I know that's a very convoluted question, but you go for it.
Yeah, well, I love many, many, many wines in France. I could go on and on for hours. Same with Italy. But I love trying new wines from all different places. I'm very passionate about French, Italian, Spanish. I'm adding more Portuguese wines to my repertoire, but I also love Croatian wines. And a lot of New World wines from the U.S. and things like that. So, but for Bourgogne, where I was living, I really love Domaine Rouleau. They are very well known worldwide, imported by Kermit Lynch. So really hard to get the wine, even at the winery in Burgundy, because it's being imported or used in the fine dining restaurants around France. But I had a really lovely experience at the winery there, and I feel super lucky to have tasted a lot of their wines. So I love them. If I can find one ever, I snatch it up immediately. And then I also love Domaine Moissannet Bonnard. That's in Pommard, and they just do such an amazing job of a lot of different variety for the different appellations in Bourgogne, not just Pommard, but they do like Océ d'Ures, and which is a white, and they do a red as well. Just a whole bunch of different variety that is very well made, and just everything they do in the vineyard. I respect everything about their vineyard practices. And they do open houses once a year in May, and it's just such an amazing experience. They do pairings with the wine, and you can do a tour through there. It's very welcoming, and they do an awesome job. So I highly recommend them too. As far as champagne, I love Bruno Paillard. That's one of my favorites. Also, Champagne de Venoge. I love their Cordon Bleu and their Princes. Very unique wine shape bottle for them. I also love Laurent Perrier, Maison Laurent Perrier for champagne. Had an amazing experience at the Laurent Perrier house in Champagne. Did a big tour, got to taste their whole range. It was very positive. So I love those. For Bordeaux, I love Chateau Figeac. It's a Grand Cru Classé B wine, so one of the top, not the very top, but close to. And it's from Saint-Emilion, and that's my favorite part of Bordeaux. I love right bank Bordeaux. A lot of people love left bank more, but I love Chateau Figeac. It's definitely my favorite for Bordeaux so far.
I think what's so difficult is when you're studying wine, it's such a, as you know, incredibly complicated subject. And so sometimes people are asking me what my favorite wines are, and I don't think I'm there yet. It's like, oh, I've tasted 150 bottles of wine, and I'm not sure because I can't remember which one I liked and which one I didn't. So I think what I'd be interested to know is in your cataloging skills, for example, even in your brain or just in some sort of catalog. How do you distinguish or keep in your muscle in your memory which are the ones that are outstanding and which are the ones that you're not very interested in?
Well, I have an Instagram page at ven_elegance, and I take photos and then I describe the wines in there.
Okay.
And so I have a bank there. I've also tons of wines described on Delectable. It's an app, but since I started doing it on Instagram, I haven't been putting as much in there. Also, Vinea Love is creating an aspect in the app for you to track your wines and to share your wines with other wine lovers when you come up with one that you just love. So I'm super excited about that feature. That's going to be coming up as well. And so
so on Instagram, you label the thing do you rate it, or do you just write down that you enjoyed it and what's in it and identify it?
I don't do a rating, like a point scale on there. I do on Delectable, but on Vin Elegance, on Instagram, I describe it in more of a in the moment kind of what it's sort of a feeling, but it's describing the initial notes that you have on the bouquet, and then how it is on the attack, how the evolution is, and how it finishes. Usually is how I approach it. So notes and aromas. And
so one thing I wanted to ask you is, so I was teaching wine marketing to a big group of students that follow me on LinkedIn that were very interested in wine or pursuing a career in wine. So the first thing to note is most of these people are incredibly educated in a variety. Some people think that studying wine or being in the wine industry is kind of silly, or it's about drinking. And then you start watching what these people are doing, and they're incredibly educated people, and they keep educating themselves. So if someone were to want to be you, for example, how would they go about starting? So aside from studying, studying French, you started in high school, correct? What year did you start studying French?
I grew up in the United States, so I started in 8th grade. But in Canada, we offer French immersion, so you can start really young here. And I do teach French immersion here. But I was just so passionate when I was 14 to learn French because, actually, thanks to my mother, she lived in Germany when she was 19 to 21, and she always ingrained in me that I need to learn another language, that I need to travel abroad, and that it's the most enriching experience you could have. And so I knew when I was young I was going to be studying a language, but I always loved French culture and the fashion and the food and everything about it.
And so my thing is Italy. So I think your past life is in France and my past life is in Italy, and we met
definitely.
And I keep forgetting you're close enough to me to visit you. I think so. Vancouver, are you 5 hours away from? Well, Seattle's about 5 hours away. So are you 7 hours away?
Seattle's only about 2.5 hours away. It ends up being about 3.
From me or from you? I think it's 5 hours away from me.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Because I'm in Eugene. So you're 2.5 hours. So if I got to Seattle, then it's 2.5 hours more to get to Vancouver. But I think I can also take a train to get to Vancouver, which would be quite fun. And then
I've heard it's great.
Yeah, I bet it's great because I think I've taken a train to Seattle. So we're 24 minutes here. So okay, let's go into, because I think we should stop at around 30 or 40 minutes.
Okay.
So it's not easy to plan the perfect vacation because there's so many regions to see and each region has its own charms. So can you kind of talk a little bit about some of the regions in France you would recommend? Are we talking France or are we talking Italy? France?
Well, whatever you want. I mean, I
Let's,
can
let's do France because
start
that's kind of your
France.
your specialty. So if we were traveling on a tour to France, what could we expect to see, or what sort of regions, or what is there to offer? Let me get that
So
out.
each region has so many things to offer. France just is so rich with culture. It's unbelievable. But it depends on what you're looking for. We can do different lengths of trips and different styles. So if you wanted just one region, we could do that if you only had a limited amount of time. If you wanted to do several, it's really great how France has the vineyards. You can just go from Champagne straight down to Provence and be on the Med. So, and there's wine regions all the way down. So it's really what works for your schedule, but each area has so many things to offer. Champagne, for example, would be wonderful to explore the cathedral where the kings were crowned, also the different champagne houses, and then the culinary experience there is phenomenal as well. So there's a lot of different types of champagne houses to see in different areas of Champagne to check out so you can see the differences in the terroir. Once you leave there, you can go south a little bit and you're in Chablis, which is very interesting for wine and food as well. The interesting part about Chablis is seeing the different fossils that you can actually see in the soils. So for the higher level Chablis, like the Premier Cru and Grand Cru, you can see that it's Kimmeridgian limestone soils. So you can see that there's like spirals in the soil. You can see it in some of the cellars as well. I went to one producer, Domaine Bersan, in Chablis, and the cellar is centuries old, and you can walk in there and see the spiral fossils right in the walls of the cellar. It's pretty interesting. And then if you keep going, so Chablis is considered Burgundy or Bourgogne. So if you keep going south, then you're in Côte de Nuit, which is where some of the most expensive wines in the world come from. And so you can see some of those places. Dijon is there. Dijon is the main city in near Côte de Nuit, and you can do shopping there. There's amazing restaurants, and you can learn about the Dukes of Bourgogne. So the whole history there is kind of set up around that. Keep going south in Bourgogne, and you're in Côte de Beaune, which is where Beaune is, where I did my studying. Oh, sorry
Is
about
that your
this.
phone? Or is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh no.
Ugh.
Thus far, we haven't had a cat come in or anything going on.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. What are we doing here? Okay. So then you can explore many Michelin star restaurants or Michelin restaurants in Beaune. They also have the Les Hospices de Beaune, or it's also called l'Hôtel Dieu, like the Hotel of God. It's basically, it was a charity hospital that was started there, and it's just gorgeous. It has the Burgundian tile rooftops. It's a must-see if you go to Beaune. And just there's like different places you can do like a wine tasting market. It's like the wine market there, and then they have a market. It's just gorgeous. It's beautiful. Keep going south, and you're in the rest of southern Burgundy, and then you lead into Beaujolais, which some people consider to be Burgundy, and some other people don't. And then you're in the Rhone. So Lyon is the main city in the Rhone Valley, in northern Rhone area. And so you can see Côte Rôtie with the really steep cliffs. The vineyards are built into the cliffs. And there's some really unique things about the Rhone Valley and in the northern Rhone and southern Rhone. So Avignon is in southern Rhone, and you can see the Château des Papes, which was like where they moved the papal palace because they loved the wines there. And so there's a lot of different unique things to experience. Lyon also has it's called the gastronomic capital of France because there's so many good restaurants there. And if you keep going to Provence, you've got the Mediterranean in there, plus the Mont Saint Victoire, which is a beautiful mountain that Paul Cézanne painted many, many times. And there's a lot of biodynamic wines in Provence. And then within Provence, you've got different appellations like Bandol, which I'm a huge fan of. It's amphitheater shape that faces the Mediterranean. So it's built on a cliff that's like a shape of an amphitheater facing the water. And their wines are so unique and amazing. Then you've got different cities along the coast, like Cassis, and the different calanques, they're called. It's like coves that are formed by cliffs, and the highest cliff in Europe is there. And you can have lunch on some of the calanques. You can do a boat tour within them, or you can hike in them. It's really amazing. So there's so much in every area, plus all the cultural and museums and things you can put in to the experience to make it really authentic.
What I enjoy about living in Europe is I don't think you could ever run out of things to do. Here in Eugene, Oregon, you could run out of things to do. Like, how could when you've got thousands of years of history all around you? I don't know if you could spend your life trying to see the things in Rome and never quite get there. I've been to Italy 12 times, and I'm seeing a lot of things, and some of the most amazing things I've ever seen in Europe or Italy. I know enough Italian to be able to get by, especially when I'm in the culture. But I was traveling to a lot of cities where they didn't speak English, and some of the most magnificent cathedrals and churches and frescoes and art and beautiful things were in the cities where there were no tourists. And it was just, and no one knew about them or they're really publicized. So it was really, really interesting. Okay.
I love that.
In closing here, so real quickly, so why don't you talk a little bit about just a few minutes on the silver linings of COVID. So COVID, none of us were expecting a global pandemic, and we're still having pretty severe repercussions where I am. And so what are some of the silver linings of COVID?
For me, it provided me some time to reflect on how far I've come and what I'd like to bring forth moving forward, what I'd like to do expanding my knowledge and my business. It also provided me with opportunities for growth as far as teaching online, conducting more business through Skype and through Zoom, and with our interviews, live interviews. Things like that that I wasn't used to doing. And so that's great. And then also gave me time to research different things about what I want to do for the upcoming travel trips that I want to offer. Also, I had surgery, so it was like a significant recovery on that, and I feel great now. So I didn't feel like I was missing out too much while I was healing, and so now I'm ready to go, and I'm super excited about the world opening up a bit more again and ready to take on new things.
Me too. And I would say some of the things I did, some of the things I saw, one for myself, I actually sat and worked the entire time on. I was actually a little bit intimidated about doing these broadcasts because I didn't understand how to work all of this. I didn't know how to do the graphics. I didn't know how to do these little things here. So I sat and worked on it. And I am a public speaker, but it's still a little intimidating to get onto a video and not, it spread around the world with you talking. So I worked on that. I also meditated and still am. I'm meditating twice a day, and I write in my journal every day.
Me too. Yeah,
that's been great. A far out experience. So we'll talk about that too. So
definitely.
Yeah. So and then I was doing Weight Watchers and exercising 6 days a week through, who knows what was happening. Okay. So in closing, great. What are some tips that you would say for successful men and women moving forward? What do you think has made you successful? What would be some of your top tips or the things that you think have pushed you forward and made you a successful woman?
So There's one quote that I love from Yogi Bhajan, and he is a yogi that brought the yoga that I do to the West, and I love yoga and meditation, and so it's start and the
Okay, so
pressure.
that's why you were okay. Got it. So we'll talk about
Start and the
that.
pressure will be off. So
Okay.
even if you feel like something's overwhelming and it seems like an impossible feat, just start and the pressure will be off. And maybe you don't accomplish it immediately, but as long as you keep moving forward and you keep doing steps towards your goal, you're still moving forward. Just don't give up. Giving up is, something you don't want to do, but if you're always making steps forward, you're still succeeding. You're still making it towards your goal. But starting takes the pressure off. I think we create in our minds like these daunting tasks, but as soon as you start, it's already set in motion. And then,
oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Go ahead.
And then I also like the quote by Henry Ford that is, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. So it's really just your thoughts create your reality, basically. So, if you believe you can do something, you can succeed.
Okay, I agree. I agree on the thoughts create your reality. I agree that I have found that meditation is incredibly powerful in moving forward. And I would also say if you were to look at my resume, it appears that I have always known, I have always planned it out, and I've always moved forward knowing exactly what I should be doing. And the reality of it is we often move forward blindly into fear that makes us bigger and better people, not knowing exactly where we're going, but we keep going. Like you said, you need to persevere even when you don't know, okay, I'm going through uncharted territory. So where am I going now? So great. Okay. So how do we find you on social media? So pardon me, some of the information is right here at the bottom. So let me click on that. So if someone wanted to find your app, I think you discussed how to find your app. Next, if they wanted to find you on social media, how do they find you?
So Instagram, you can send me a direct message there. My website also has my email. So my website is www.venelegance.com. So no underscore on that one, but there is an underscore for my Twitter and Instagram handle. So you can contact me on Twitter, on Instagram, or on my website. And my email is tara@venelegance.com. I'm happy to respond to you on any of those. Also, I'm on LinkedIn. So Tara Abernethy on LinkedIn. If you want to contact me through LinkedIn, that's fine too. My app that I prefer is at the moment Instagram and LinkedIn, but soon Vinea Love will be the most awesome app because it's growing. And so for anything in wine industry, that's a great way to connect as well. But we're just launching now, so that will be increasingly amazing as people sign up for it. So looking forward to that too.
And that sounds great. And okay, so I'll just stop here. We'll talk a little bit about the Time to Wine broadcast again is a live broadcast on the second and the fourth Monday of the month at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I feature experts in wine, social media marketing, leadership, and marketing. And I also got a notification a few minutes ago. This went live on YouTube as well. So on the first and third Friday of the month, I do live interviews. Well, they're pre-recorded, but they're live interviews. And most of the time we have to pre-record because people are in different time zones and in different countries. And that's at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And it will be posting on Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live, and YouTube. So if you're interested in watching these interviews, please hit subscribe on my YouTube channel. This is going to be going, I think I have 4 interviews this week. So we'll have a lot of different interviews with people in different industries. So anyway, let's give Tara a big kiss from Eugene, Oregon to Vancouver. And I have been to Vancouver before. I think I went on a trip to Seattle, and I think I drove to Vancouver from my memory on several occasions. And I need to do it again so we can meet.
I would love that. People. I would love to show you around. Yeah.
So we're going to check this out and see. This is the first time we've gone live, and in the future, we may try this again where people can interact and ask questions, any kind of questions they want. So we're just kind of learning on this. So anyway, we're going to give you a big ciao, or I should know what goodbye in French is, but I can't remember it right now. So what's goodbye in French?
Au revoir, but I
Yes,
want to say
okay. I know this. Au revoir. I was just spacing that. Okay. Well, thank you so much. And we're going to end the broadcast now. So here we go. Oh.